As you know, this meeting is recorded and will be uploaded to public internet. So chances are whatever you say remains on the internet for a very, very long time. With that, let's start our meeting. I have a couple of updates for you folks. I have put some items on the agenda for this meeting in our regular meeting notes. One is with regards to the framework, the scheduling framework that we are working on. Finally, that PR that I sent for adding the interfaces for the framework or some of the extension points of the framework and the context and stuff like that is already merged. So you can take a look if you want. With that, we are now at the point that we can start adding more extension points. So I filed at least a couple of issues for adding extension points, in particular unreserved extension point, which is used by plugins that register at reserve and later stages of scheduling. In the case that a pod goes to reserve and needs to be unreserved, these plugins are called so that if some of the plugins in the past save some state with the assumption that this pod is going to be reserved, now have a chance to clean up, knowing that the reservation is going to fail and the reservation is not going through. So the unreserved plugin, there is an issue for it, and hopefully someone will, I think someone has already picked it up, the unreserved one. I also filed an issue to add permit plugin. Permit plugins are super important for us. These are the plugins that can enable advanced scheduling features, such as gang scheduling or co-scheduling, as we call them. So if you're interested and if you have the cycles, please take a look and take that issue. I also filed another one for adding configuration for the framework. Our design document for the scheduling framework, or basically our KEP for the scheduling framework, goes through some details about what this configuration should look like and provide some detailed information about the configuration. Of course, when we want to implement, there could be changes. We don't always necessarily have to follow the exact things that are mentioned in the KEP. We can at that point discuss whether those changes are acceptable or not. So if you're interested in that, you can also take that issue. That's about the framework. If you have questions, you can ask now. All right. I know that there are
just one
Yeah.
question. So do we have a exact timeline, for example, when we should get those kind of stuff implemented?
So basically, our main goal is to have some of these, if possible, in 1.15. So we essentially have 1 month before our 1.15 code freeze to implement these. Implement and merge them. You know, sometimes the implementation takes a few days, and merging, reviewing process takes a lot more time. So if people are interested, please try to take them and start working on them as soon as possible. These are not necessarily best first issues. If there are new contributors, these may not necessarily work great for them. But at the same time, if you're up for a challenge, you may still try them. Yeah, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you. So because I just took the permit plugin implementation, so I want to see if I have bandwidth working on that. And yeah, as you said, it's not an easy task and not a good start point for a new contributor. So I like to give it a try. Yeah.
Well, luckily you are not a new contributor, and I appreciate it. Yeah, but that's actually a pretty important extension point. I don't know if you have enough time for it, given that you're also working on even pod spreading, which is also a relatively big project as well.
Yeah, I will give it a try first. Yeah.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Yeah, the KEP for supporting less than and greater than operators for interpod affinity is also merged, meaning that we can track that in 115, and hopefully we will have the feature merged in 115. I saw that Leon, I believe, sent a PR for that, yeah. Leon has sent a PR for that. I have linked that PR in our meeting notes. It's still work in progress, but we're hoping that we can finish it in 115. Ray has sent out the first PR for adding event pod spreading. This PR, correct me if I'm wrong, Ray, this PR is adding only the API side of it, and other PRs are going to follow, right?
Yeah, that's correct. And I also asked the API machinery folks, what's the best way to get the API stuff reviewed as well as other specific scheduling tasks reviewed. So Legit gave me the answer is that we usually don't approve a partial implementation of a feature. So that I would do like this. I submit one PR after one. So once one previous PR got reviewed, it has still be held there. So that, yeah, because that's part of the whole implementation. So, but I will rebase the code based on the previous code so that the CI can show green, right? So, but I will put a kind of a dummy commit that says starting review from here, so that reviewers won't be necessary to review the code ahead of that point for a specific PR. Yeah, I want to do like that.
So it's important that any PR that we submit must pass all the CI/CD and must be, of course, buildable. We need to be able to build. But another thing that I wanted to say is that probably API machinery wants all the API side of the project to be done in a single PR, but they don't necessarily want all the logics of the scheduler to be built in the same PR.
But from my talk with Legit and Lava Lamp, I think they mean the whole implementation for the CAP.
That's a little odd because the PR could get really, really large.
Yeah, really large. Yes.
Okay, so I don't know. We can talk with them again. I can ping them again and see if that's really the case. But yeah.
This is Klaus. Yeah. I think we can start a thread to talk about this topic because I think in our previous experience, we would suggest have some small functional PR into the one by one, so which is easy for reviewer.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think we need to talk with the API machinery about this part.
Yeah, exactly. Because this was not the case in the past, at least. Yeah. Something like priority and preemption went through a bunch of PRs, and that was even with many PRs. Some of those PRs were like thousands of lines, and I personally was not very happy with the fact that some of those were so large. If we wanted to combine all of those together, then we would be talking about like PRs with like tens of lines of code change.
I think we need to get clarify the concern from the API machinery why they would like to have such a large PR for that one. So we need to address their concern about this part.
Yeah, if we can get the API machinery PR get merged, so that will save us a lot of efforts.
I think I think we need to get their concern firstly to make sure we're on the same page. Yes, to try our best to address their concern for this case.
I agree. Yeah. I will try to reach out to them as well, and then we can get this resolved soon. Okay, these are all the updates from my side. If you have any questions or comments, it's now a good time to ask them. Oh, and I would like to quickly also introduce Abdullah, if you don't mind. I would like to introduce him. Abdullah is one of the Googlers who is located in Waterloo, and he has recently joined us to work on the scheduler. I am very happy that he's in the SIG scheduling now, and we will hopefully see him more often in our SIG meetings. I also would like to thank him especially for attending this meeting. I know that this is like 8 so p.m. In his time zone. Thank you for attending this meeting.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Yeah, looking forward to contribute more to the SIG.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm excited about that.
Excited to have you.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
Great.
All right. Ray, I think you can take it over if there is no other question or comments. Ray, you can take it over for the demo.
Oh, sorry. Hi,
Yes,
hi,
Klaus,
sorry.
go ahead.
Yeah. I think we use to change the goal structure about pod affinity, right? I think we need to have another PR to correct that one. We need to have a separate, maybe separate goal structure to make sure we support backward compatibility.
With pod affinity, affinity, you said?
Sorry. Large and great, less and great.
Yeah, less than great than. Yeah,
Yes.
not the same PR as me. Sorry.
Yeah. We need to have two type of goal struct to make sure the backward compatible. We cannot change the name of the. Yes. I think we also need to have a separate pull request to the keep to make sure align with the implementation.
Yes. That's, I guess, it's aligned with the same comment that I made on that clip, right?
Yeah.
That we need to be backward compatible fully, and whatever API changes we make, it needs to be backward compatible. It doesn't make sense to add new operators not be backward compatible. These new operators are on top of existing operators, and anything that existed in the past should work identically.
Yes. Yeah. Agree with that. Yeah. I think we need to update the keep in the enhancement.
Sure. We can ask Leon to explicitly add this in the cap.
Okay, that's great.
Thanks.
I think it's your time.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let me share my screen. Share my desktop. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so first some background on the cap. The cap is called even path spread. It means we are going to try to give user the option to spread their paths evenly across the cluster, either across their zone, region, or rack, or nodes. So you can specify this as a hard requirement, which is we internally call it predicate, and also you can specify it as a priority. Means we prefer to do these options. Okay, so today I will show a basic example of predicates, which is a hard requirement. For example, we have a cluster, have 5 nodes, because I run it in a local host, so I didn't change the name of the 127.0.0.1. But basically, we have 5 nodes, and they belong to 2 zones. Okay, and I labeled the node and zone to each node. So there are 3 nodes belongs to zone 1, and node 3 and node 4 belong to zone 2. Okay, and right now there's no path. Okay, let me show how the YAML looks like. So the YAML looks like this. We introduced a new API field to pod spec, which is called topology spread constraints. it's a slice means you can either specify one or multiple constraint. And for example, this example just specifies one constraint. It means I want to spread the paths with the most tolerance that the zone which has the path number is only greater than 1 than any other zone. So max skew is kind of maximum imbalance degree of the host cluster for them to have specific paths. And the topology key means how I want to impose this kind of constraint. And when unsatisfiable means whether it's a predicate or priority. Do not schedule means if it doesn't satisfy this constraint, we just let it be pending. We don't try to schedule it, okay? And the label selector is the conditions we specify to ask my incoming path to match to which kind of path in the cluster. So right now I'm going to just create one as C. So basically there are a lot of available slots, right, in each two zones. So basically it can land on any node. Okay. So basically it lands on node 4, it's on zone 2, right? And you can see here 5 nodes evaluated and 5 nodes are feasible. So it's correct. And let me scale it to 2. So in this case, because there's already one part in zone 2, so basically this incoming part can only be scheduled to zone 1. Yes, it's scheduled to node 1. Let me see the log. It says 5 nodes evaluated, 3 nodes were found feasible because the 2 nodes in zone 2 are not feasible, right? So it looks good. Let's continue to spread to 10 to take a look. Oops, yeah, yes, okay. And it looks good so far. I think it should be 5 nodes in zone 1 and 5 nodes in zone 2. Let's check out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 5 nodes in zone 2 and 5 nodes in zone 1. Yeah, that's correct.
That's very nice.
Yeah, and let me delete this. Deploy pass. Yes. So maybe you have an additional requirement that not only I want to spread evenly on zones, I want also to spread the nodes on. Sorry, not only I want to spread the nodes on zones, but also I want to spread the paths on nodes. Right. That is additional requirement.
Basically, the spread among zones, and within a zone, spread among nodes.
Correct.
So, for example, if you have 3 pods in each zone, you don't want all those 3 pods to land on the same node in the zone.
Exactly. So basically, it's almost the same spec as before. I just append another constraint here. So basically, make sure the 2 constraints has different topology key. So one is on zone and one is on node. So let's see. If I want to, let's say, deploy 5 replicas, so ideally they should land on each node, right?
Yes. So given that you have max skew of 1, yes, on one zone you can have 3, and the other zone you can have 2.
Let me see whether we have bugs here. Yeah, nice. Each pod gets landed on each node, and basically they don't violate either constraint, right? So let me show you another interesting thing. So basically, right now we have one pod for each node, right? And what if I scale is to 10? What things you will think will happen? So let me show you. So Bobby, what symptom would you expect to happen?
So we specified max skew of 1 for zone and max skew of 1 per node as well, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
And we now had like 5. We have added 5 more. So I would expect each node to get 2 pods. But the problem here is that if we do that, then max skew of zones will not be satisfied. So
exactly.
So given that I believe some pods will not schedule, right? Yeah.
That's the problem.
Right. But this is fine. This is fine. This is what users has specified. So if users, and this is exactly as intended, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So let me give you. So what does Bobby mention is this kind of status. We want them to both satisfy the zone constraint and the node constraint, but it's infeasible because when the scheduled pods comes to 9, the 10th pod cannot be scheduled onto any node because it violates both. For example, right now we have this kind of situation here. So the 10th pod cannot be landed on any node. If it lands on node 2, it violates the zone.
This will always happen if you have max skew of 1 and the number of nodes in your zones is not the same. So if you have like,
correct.
In this case, you have like 1 node more in one zone. But if you, for example, have a even larger imbalance, for example, tens of nodes in one zone and only a couple of nodes in the other zone, then things will become a lot worse because as soon as you put some pods in, your constraints are going to get violated and some of your pods will not get scheduled. So this is fine. And this is fine because users has specified exactly this in their constraints and have also specified that they don't want to schedule if any of those constraints is violated. So this is working as intended.
Yeah,
If they want the pod to be scheduled in this case, they should probably go with the soft affinity or with the soft constraint, basically, or like the priority version of it, basically.
Yeah, exactly. That one I haven't implemented yet. So yeah, I'm going to get that implemented.
Sure.
Yeah, this is basic for the demo.
Sounds great. This was amazing. Thank you very much. This is a great job. And it works very well so far.
Yeah, by the way, another tip I mentioned in last week's SIG scheduling meeting, and I'm using the Haro node to spin up 4 additional nodes here on my local host. So if you want to know how I do it, I can share the tips maybe offline or something.
Yeah, that would be great. Actually, in case you are interested to write a short document, you can do that, and then we can put it in our GitHub or
sure
repository.
Yeah, that's all.
Thank you so much. We are now running out of time as well, so we have less than a minute. If anybody wants to share anything else, please go ahead and ask, or let's going once, twice. All right, thank you very much for attending. I'll see some of you folks next week. I'm again sorry for the confusion about the meeting link. I will update that calendar. Thanks again, and see you later.